Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's much talked about attempt to repair their relationship with King Charles at Highgrove, reportedly came to an unexpected and disappointing end. According to reports, Meghan was seen leaving the Highgrove estate only 47 minutes after meeting with the king, making it seem as though the long-anticipated reconciliation had fallen apart before it ever had a real chance to succeed. So, what actually took place behind those doors? Make sure you stay with me until the very end, because the way this entire situation unfolded may be far more surprising than you expect.
Meghan Markle felt humiliated on Prince Harry's most recent UK trip, and that the trip turned into a nightmare, forcing Markle and her children to return home to California earlier than they had hoped.
After weeks of widespread speculation, suggesting that Meghan Markle would not travel to the United Kingdom because taxpayer-funded security had not been approved for her and her children. The narrative unexpectedly took a different turn. New reports soon began claiming that Meghan had arrived in the UK with her children to meet King Charles, raising fresh speculation that this visit could mark the beginning of an effort to repair the strained relationship and open the door to a possible reconciliation between both sides.
Her claims, Harry's claims that they can't possibly return to the United Kingdom without royal security because the press won't leave them alone.
Reports suggested that King Charles was genuinely happy about this unexpected visit because it had been several years since he had last seen his own grandchildren. To many observers, this seemed like the ideal chance for the king to reconnect with his son, while finally enjoying precious time with Archie and Lilibet. It was easy to imagine that he had been looking forward to welcoming them, showing them around the beautiful Highgrove estate, and introducing them to places and family surroundings they had never experienced while growing up in Montecito.
This is the first time that the king has actually met his granddaughter and grandson from Prince Harry's side of the family since the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee all the way back in June 2022. And if you were to ask me on Monday afternoon whether I thought this meeting would take place, I would have told you absolutely no chance.
Reports indicated that the meeting made one thing very clear, which was that firm boundaries were still being carefully maintained. Instead of creating the warm and welcoming atmosphere many had expected from a family reunion, the discussion appeared to be guided more by royal protocol, caution, and a clear effort to keep personal distance rather than rebuild close family ties.
Reported that Markle's frustrations came from the couple not receiving taxpayer-funded security and not being allowed to stay at Buckingham Palace.
This is where the story takes an unexpected turn. According to the reports, when Meghan realized the meeting was nothing like the warm and emotional family reunion she had imagined, and instead became a very straightforward conversation about boundaries, expectations, and the way forward, she was reportedly left extremely upset. She is said to have arrived expecting a welcoming reception, but instead left after receiving a very clear understanding of where the limits had been drawn. The message appeared to be unmistakable. The royal family had continued moving forward, and any possibility of rebuilding the relationship would only happen under carefully defined conditions. Based on these reports, that outcome was clearly not what she had been expecting or hoping for.
Trip to the UK, there was a bit of will they, won't they? Harry goes by himself, and then suddenly Meghan Markle with the kids in they trot as well. But there have been some reports that the family reunion that they had with the King and the Queen may have not gone as planned for Meghan. There are some suggestions that it probably wasn't warm and fuzzy. I can't imagine why.
According to reports, when Meghan and Harry arrived at Highgrove, Harry may have expected to see his father almost immediately after spending so much time apart. Instead, it was claimed that they were asked to wait while the final arrangements and royal procedures were completed before the meeting could officially begin. That delay reportedly gave the impression that the situation was being managed entirely on the royal family's terms rather than theirs. From that point onward, it appeared that many of Harry's expectations were not met, leaving him feeling disappointed. And as the story continued to unfold, it became clear that the real nightmare was not simply the journey itself.
Most part, he was rejected. And the nightmare wasn't just the trip. It was discovering that the privilege of royalty, doesn't automatically survive after you quit your job.
You can almost picture the sense of disappointment they may have felt. They reportedly believed that once they reached Highgrove, they would be welcomed inside without delay and quickly reunited with the king. However, according to the reports, that was not how the situation unfolded. Instead, the palace seemed determined to manage every step of the visit according to its own established procedures. The overall impression was that the institution wanted to leave no room for doubt that every decision, every arrangement, and every rule would be made on its terms, making it clear that the palace, not the Sussexes, would be setting the direction of the meeting.
Well, Meghan is furious because she hasn't done everything she wanted. When they knew they were going to come to the UK and London, she sent a list of what she wanted done for her at Buckingham Palace. Can you believe that? But they didn't go to a palace. They went to a home, and she didn't get what she wanted.
What was reported to be a surprisingly brief visit, Meghan was seen leaving the Highgrove residence after only 47 minutes. And many observers believed her expression reflected clear disappointment. Although reports suggested that King Charles was genuinely happy to finally spend time with his grandchildren after being apart from them for so many years. The meeting itself was said to lack the warmth that many had expected, and no meaningful breakthrough appeared to come from the conversation. According to those reports, the visit concluded with little more than polite greetings, formal exchanges, and respectful courtesies before everyone quietly went their separate ways, without even posing together for a single photograph.
Now, on a personal note, Grant, I'm happy that the King was able to spend time with his grandchildren. But do you think the Sussexes will be disappointed that they did not get a photograph of this meeting, given that it would enhance their brand?
According to reports, Meghan and the children left soon after the meeting at Highgrove, while Harry remained in the United Kingdom to continue preparing for the Invictus Games. Throughout the entire visit, Meghan was also noticeably absent from any public appearances. Reports suggested that one reason for staying out of the public eye was a desire to avoid the possibility of a negative reception. There were also claims that gifts associated with her, as ever lifestyle brand, did not receive the enthusiastic response she may have anticipated. Based on those reports, Meghan was said to feel disappointed and pushed to the sidelines. She may have expected a much warmer welcome on her return to the United Kingdom. But instead, it reportedly seemed that many people had not forgotten the controversies surrounding her past relationship with the royal family.
The Sussexes, with their children, were able to go to Highgrove. They flew into the country, they go to Highgrove, perhaps other parts of the UK as well, and then they go back home. Does it make a mockery of their demands for 24/7 royal security, given that that was not provided?
Meghan may have expected the meeting to continue for much longer. After all, it had reportedly been several years since King Charles had last spent time with his grandchildren. And many people believed this visit would provide the perfect chance for the family to reconnect on a more personal level. Instead, according to reports, the meeting ended in less than an hour, and its brief length quickly became one of the biggest points of discussion. For many royal observers, the short visit appeared to suggest that several important issues were still far from being resolved. Rather than presenting the image of a family that had finally repaired its relationships, the meeting reportedly highlighted that significant differences still remained, and that any genuine reconciliation would likely require much more time and effort before it could become a reality.
Sped Prince Harry, Meghan and Sparkle and the two children to see their grandfather. We're not quite sure how long it lasted. Some people are saying an hour, some are saying more. The fallout from it has been we're all sitting waiting for it to be leaked. Nothing so far. Apparently William was appalled. The following day, Harry looked like the cat that got the cream, because you and I both know that the Sussex brand's dead now, isn't it? Anywhere in the world, unless they can actually prove to have some link still with the very family they spend their entire life slagging off.
People also started paying close attention to Meghan's body language as she was seen leaving Highgrove. Many observers felt she did not look like someone who had just taken part in a successful and emotional family reunion. Rather than appearing calm, happy, or relieved, reports claimed she seemed disappointed and visibly frustrated. Another detail that quickly sparked discussion was the absence of any official family photograph following the meeting. If a significant reconciliation had truly taken place, many believed there would have been at least one official picture released to mark such an important moment. Instead, no image was shared, and it was not long before reports began circulating that Meghan and the children were preparing to head back to the United States. That sequence of events only fueled even more speculation that the meeting had fallen well short of the outcome Meghan had reportedly been hoping for.
Wanted the king's embrace, and if she got that seal of approval, that good housekeeping seal of approval, she would be able to monetize that. She would be able to use that to her advantage, and the palace was very smart on this one.
Reports also indicated that King Charles was approaching the entire situation with great caution because of the continuing tensions involving Harry, Prince William, and Queen Camilla. According to those claims, the king was placed in an extremely challenging position. On one side, he understandably wanted the opportunity to spend valuable time with his grandchildren after such a long period apart. On the other side, he also had to think about the wider royal family and consider how any attempt at reconciliation could affect the relationships that were already under strain. Reports continued to suggest that Prince William and Harry still had important issues to work through. While Harry's remarks about Queen Camilla in his memoir Spare were widely believed to have added even more tension and made the path toward rebuilding family trust far more complicated.
I think William was very happy, and I think the Queen was very happy, but I'll tell you why I think it's clever, and I thought about this overnight, because I don't know much else to do, because I don't sleep. His son has been emotionally blackmailing him and wants to deal and titles before the king passes. That's me being very straight and very honest with everybody, because there isn't a chance in hell that William will ever thaw. That's my opinion. So the king was under that sort of pressure, didn't want to be criticised for not seeing his grandchildren.
In my view, that was the difficult position King Charles seemed to be facing. He likely wanted to avoid criticism for not spending time with his grandchildren, yet he also had to balance many other responsibilities. Because of all these circumstances, reports suggested that the king handled the meeting with great care and caution. Rather than allowing emotions to shape the occasion, the visit reportedly followed a formal structure with clearly defined boundaries. Many observers felt this was the most sensible approach because King Charles carries responsibilities not only as a father, but also as the head of the monarchy. Every decision he makes has consequences for both his family and the institution he represents. So many believed he was careful not to give the impression that years of disagreements had suddenly disappeared overnight. Supporters of Harry and Meghan welcomed the meeting simply because it took place, seeing it as an encouraging first step toward repairing family relationships. Others, however, felt that although the meeting happened, it fell well short of the major breakthrough many had been expecting. According to reports, the Sussexes had hoped the visit would help reopen the door to rebuilding stronger ties with the royal family, but judging by everything that followed, that result never seemed to materialize. Instead, the meeting appeared to conclude with both sides remaining much where they had been before. Many commentators argued that Meghan did not achieve the outcome she had hoped for, and certainly did not come away with a clear victory. Some people had worried that she might be able to influence the king, yet those concerns appeared to fade because very little seemed to change. Reports suggested the meeting lasted around an hour and a half, during which they shared tea and engaged in polite conversation that carried little real significance. As some royal commentators have often pointed out, members of the royal family are well known for making pleasant small talk without revealing anything meaningful, allowing lengthy conversations to pass without touching on sensitive matters. If that was indeed the case, then it would be fair to describe Meghan's first visit in years as a disappointment, since it produced no major announcements, no public display of family unity, and no visible evidence that long-standing disagreements had been resolved. In the end, the meeting appeared to serve mainly as an opportunity for King Charles to spend a brief amount of time with his grandchildren after years apart, and beyond that. Reports suggested very little had actually changed.
That she didn't exactly get what she wants, and she certainly didn't win. A lot of us were frightened that Meghan would be able to manipulate the king, but I think in this instant, nothing has changed. They met for an hour and a half, they had tea, they talked about stuff that had no big relevance, small talk. There's no one better than the royal family for making chit-chat. If ever you've been around the royals, they say nothing. It's like cotton candy. They just talk and they don't say anything. And so he can sit there for an hour and a half and say absolutely nothing.
The outcome of the meeting could also have implications for the Invictus Games. Harry has dedicated many years to building and supporting the competition, and for many people, the event remains closely connected to his public image. Even so, some royal observers believe that the ongoing tensions within the family could make senior members of the royal family less likely to publicly take part in or support events associated with Harry. According to reports, the palace continues to approach these situations with caution because appearances involving Harry and Meghan often become the focus of intense media attention, public discussion, and controversy. For that reason, reports suggest that official invitations and visible participation from senior royals may continue to remain limited, at least for the foreseeable future.
He would love to have a relationship with these grandchildren. He doesn't. They've Skyped, they've made some phone calls, but this wasn't what they wanted. They would love to be able to fix this on a family level, Meghan, but that's what the problem is here. Harry and Meghan are not interested in fixing the family. They want a professional relationship. It's about the money. It's about the association to royalty. It's about being close to power.
For Meghan, this visit was reportedly expected to be a defining moment. Many believed it could have marked the beginning of a reconciliation with the royal family, possibly accompanied by carefully planned photographs or even a joint statement that would dominate headlines and remind the public that the Sussexes remained an important part of the royal conversation. Instead, according to reports, the visit resulted in a brief and private meeting at Highgrove that ended sooner than many had anticipated. There were no official photographs, no public statement, no social media post, and no visible acknowledgement from the palace that the meeting had even taken place. For someone who reportedly traveled all the way to the United Kingdom with her children, hoping for some public indication that the family was ready to welcome them back, leaving without any visible sign of progress must have been deeply disappointing, according to those reports. Rather than returning with a memorable public moment or a headline celebrating a fresh start, the visit appeared to end with nothing more than a quiet journey back to the airport. Many commentators also suggested that an official photograph would have carried enormous symbolic value in today's social media-driven world, where a single image can often shape the entire public narrative surrounding an event.
Harry and the King to have sorted out their relationship, because you would expect the King to go to something like the opening of the Invictus Games next year. It would be standard, almost normal royal protocol.
One important question still remains. Is it truly possible for the relationship between the Sussexes and the royal family to be repaired, or has too much happened for things to ever return to the way they once were? And if reconciliation is still possible, what steps would Harry and Meghan need to take to rebuild trust and move the family forward? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because I would really like to hear your opinion on this story. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss our latest updates and discussions.
So she desperately wanted a photograph. We know the world we live in. We know the world of social media. We want to see a picture of the king, of Meghan, of the children, of Harry, of everybody smiling. The palace said absolutely not. This is not a state visit. This is not even an official visit. This is a family visit. And so there's no photograph.